terms of when it comes into getting possession of a home, there's two things on a contract, at least in the state of Kansas, that we have. One is the closing date, and then the other is the possession date. Now, most contracts we have, it's the same date. However, that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. So we have seen people where they ask for early possession because of some desire, whether they're getting kicked out of the place that they're living, whether they're buying and selling a home at the same time and they need to move their stuff before they sell their other house, or there's just some other reason. So sometimes the buyer will ask to get early possession, which could be granted by the seller. It's an agreement between both parties. Also, on the flip side, we've seen it to where the seller will require possession longer. So maybe they need 3 days to move their stuff out because they're buying a house that they need to close on their house for. We see this not often, but we do see it sometimes. One of the things that's really important, I think, to have that conversation with your real estate agent is just to make sure, is this something that I want? Is this something that I need? Because the thing of it is when we put it in the original offer, it's much easier for them to be accepted, especially if we're not in a competitive multiple offer situation when you're just the only offer. Because later in the contract, we have to create an amendment to change the date, and the seller may not necessarily want to agree with the amendment because it doesn't benefit them at that point. So it's really important to have that conversation up front with your real estate agent to make sure that you guys are on the same page on what exactly you need. And sometimes moving is hard, and when you're buying and selling a house in the same day, it's really chaotic to try to do both of that at the exact same time. So, we've had people load up a U-Haul in the morning and then close their home and then go unload it that evening. But that's very stressful because sometimes, the closing date and closing time can change. So this is something that we just need to be aware of how much of a stress that can create in the system. Now, sometimes when you're getting early possession or you're delaying possession, you can charge rent in exchange for that. Also, you can put additional requirements to make sure the buyer moving in has insurance that will cover. So those are just conversations that you need to have to make sure that you cover the bases so the buyer is protected and the seller is protected. Thanks for joining us today. If you are in the market for buying or selling a home, please reach out to us. This is Steve Myers with Urban Cool Homes, signing off.